The real reason why Albert Ojwang Casket had Kenyan and Manchester United flags. In a small village in Homa Bay County, Kenya, mourners gathered quietly, their faces heavy with grief, their hands holding flowers, placards, and memories. But what stood out most wasn't just the silence or the tears, it was the image of one casket, lying at the center of it all. A simple wooden coffin, draped in two bold flags. One, the national flag of Kenya, black, red, green, and white. The other, a red banner bearing the emblem of one of the most famous football clubs in the world, Manchester United. To some, it may have looked strange. But to those who knew him, it made perfect sense. This is the story of Albert Ojwang, a young teacher, a passionate activist, a son of Kenya, and a die-hard Manchester United fan. And today, we tell the real reason why his final journey was wrapped in those two powerful flags. Albert Ojwang was just 28 years old. But in his short life, he had made a name for himself, not as a politician or a celebrity, but as a committed educator and a bold voice for justice. In the schools of Homa Bay, he taught more than just the curriculum. He mentored, he encouraged, he questioned, and outside the classroom, he often joined peaceful demonstrations, demanding better conditions, accountability, and fairness for his community. Then came a day in late June 2025, a day that changed everything. Albert was arrested during a demonstration. The details that followed remain unclear, but what is known is this: not long after that arrest, he was found dead, while still in police custody. His death sparked outrage. Accusations of police brutality spread rapidly. People wanted answers, but before the truth could settle, a funeral had to be planned. And that funeral became more than a farewell. It became a message to the nation. As the day came, the casket was brought out, and there it was. Draped in the Kenyan flag. For many, it was a symbol of honor. A tribute to a man who loved his country enough to fight for its future. It represented not just the place of his birth, but the cause he stood for. The cause he may have died for. In many Kenyan cultures, the national flag is reserved for leaders, soldiers, or people of national significance. But here, it was the people, his students, his fellow teachers, his friends, who decided he was worthy of that honor. They were saying, this man stood for Kenya, and Kenya must not forget him. But just below the Kenyan flag, another banner appeared. The red and white of Manchester United. And it wasn't a mistake. This flag was chosen with just as much meaning. Because beyond the activism, beyond the struggle, Albert Ojwang had a deep love, a joy that carried him through hard days. Football. Albert was a known Manchester United fan. He owned the jersey, followed every game, and spoke passionately about the players, the wins, and even the losses. It was his escape, his comfort, his passion. And so, those closest to him felt it only right that, in his final rest, the club he loved should be right there with him. To outsiders, a football flag may seem small. But to Albert, it was part of who he was. It reminded the world that even revolutionaries have hobbies. Even teachers have dreams. Even fighters for justice still celebrate goals on a Saturday evening. As the casket moved through the crowd, tension rose. Police tried to take control of the procession. But the youth resisted. In an emotional moment, they lifted the coffin onto their shoulders and began chanting, "Justice for Ojwang. Justice for Ojwang." They walked. They sang. They cried. And with every step, they made it clear, this funeral was not about silence. It was about speaking louder than ever before. Two flags. Two sides of a man. One, his deep pride in being Kenyan. The other, his personal joy, his love for a game, for a team that brought him comfort. Together, the flags didn't divide his identity, they completed it. And so now, long after the crowds have gone home, and the chants have faded, that image remains. A teacher, a patriot, a football fan, gone too soon, but not forgotten. This is Doreza News TV. If you believe Albert Ojwang's story matters, share it. Let his voice be heard, even now. Subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and most importantly, never stay silent when truth is under attack.